Hey guys, Sean Terry here. What is up? Here with the man, Alex Young. Alex.
How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Beautiful day in paradise.
Yep, in your paradise, I guess. Here it's like 70 degrees, I think. We've had some 80s and we had some 60s. Now we're back to 70. But I think it's all downhill from here from Virginia, you know?
Your toast. Actually,
What's
I just
that?
flew back. I just flew back yesterday from Tampa. I was in Tampa for the day on Monday, and we were outside eating, and it was like 98 degrees and humid. I was like, this sucks, you know. I was like, I just left Phoenix, and it's like beautiful. Love it. But you guys, are you guys subject to storms? All right, so guys, if let us know if you can hear us and you can see us okay. I greatly appreciate it. So if you can hear us and see us okay, let us know in the comments. We got a bunch of cool stuff we're going to talk about today. We're going to answer some questions, and it's going to be fun. So yeah, if you can hear us and see us okay, let us know in the comments there, and that would help us to make sure we have all of our audio and visual working. So
I see a bunch of people piling on. I don't see any comments yet, but say hello, wave, what market are you in, all that good stuff.
yeah, exactly. There we go. Yes. What's up, Steven? I can hear and see you. Cool. So let us know what market you're coming in from, what area you're coming in from. Ty says thumbs up. Can hear and see you. Seattle market is from Ken. Andrea is on here. Phoenix. What's up, Jalen? From Phoenix. What's up? What's up? Fredericksburg, Virginia. What's up? Hey, there you go. Fredericksburg. There. That's right around by you. We got the Denver market. What's up, Denver? Comments on here. Okay. It's like the comments are on here. Can you see the comments on your side, Alex?
I'm actually trying to go to my Facebook page to see, or the actual broadcast itself to see if I can see it. Yeah, I don't see them on the actual.
DFW, I have fix and flips. Steven, we got a fix and flip. We can talk about that. Charlotte.
Now they're coming in. I see them now. Charlotte, New York markets. Yep, I got it.
Yep. Cool. Little Rock.
Brad, Steven, Tim, Joseph.
Atlanta, Georgia. Dallas, Texas. Cool. Matt Smith. Hear you guys clearly. Wholesale house and mortgage. Cool. Memphis, Tennessee, Toronto. Hear you clearly. Okay, if you guys could do me a favor. If you see there's like a like and share button right now, if you could like that, just let me know if that works. And if you could share this. So hit the like button there. Let us know if it works, because we're going to talk about some pretty cool stuff. Obviously, we both wholesale houses. Alex, actually, he builds houses. We also fix and flip houses. So we got Dallas, Texas, New York City. So when it comes to wholesaling and it comes to fixing and flipping, how long have you been doing it, Alex? How long have you been in the business?
I've been in the game 15 years. Overall, full-time for the last 10. And wholesaling has always been the base of my business. It's always where everything starts. Because when you wholesale, you're getting access to really good properties. And I talked to you last night about that duplex I was trying to figure out what to do with. I mean, I could flip it, make 30 grand, or I can fix it or build the house and flip the and sell it, and then take the money from that and put it on the duplex, and then have a duplex that cash flows really well. So the opportunities are endless when you're somebody that knows how to market and find deals. You really can do. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go, and it all starts with wholesaling.
Right. Absolutely. Wholesaling is the premise. It's the easiest thing to get into, but it's almost like there's so many different moving parts in the business. And as the market shifts, things begin to change. And shifting, I mean, as the market's up, inventory decreases, competition becomes more stringent, and now you have to be better on your game. You have to be better at tracking your numbers, your key performance indicators, really get good at lead generation at a low cost price point, and then be able to convert those leads. Because if you have two wholesalers in the exact same market and they're doing similar lead generation where they're sending direct mail, they may be on Google AdWords, they might be doing RVM campaigns, they might be doing cold calling and stuff like that. So, and they're doing similar marketing methods, right? It all comes down to the conversion and how you separate yourself from everybody else in the market. What's up, Brandon? Brandon's in the house. Brandon knows. He knows our business side now. So the bottom line is what we've talked about, especially a lot in our oh, here they go. Comments right here. Okay. What's happening? Sean, it says Sean is glitchy. Alex is crystal clear. Glitchy. Why am I glitchy?
The connection. BeLive's funny, I guess.
Which could be our connection. I mean, we're Cox, right? And Cox is the worst. We're in this building. We almost have to have like 3 different internet services going from 3 different companies just to make sure one works. It's crazy. All right, so sorry about that. If I am glitchy, I apologize. Hopefully I'll come back in. The bottom line is that we're all marketing, we're all spending money on leads, we're all spending, we're either in a part-time business, we're working at part-time around our job, and we're spending money on lead generation, or we're spending our time and energy on lead generation. And it might be going to people on Craigslist or for sale banner sites or Zillow. But whether you're spending money or you're spending your time and energy to generate leads, there has to be a differentiating factor between you and everybody else. Now, if you've been watching on TV lately, if you turn on the radio in some markets across the country, you'll see that there are, big guru companies coming through, and they're on the radio, they're on the TV, and they're bringing in massive amounts of people, and they do these 2, 3, 4, day events teaching wholesaling. So you have a lot of brand new people that are entering the market into our wholesale business in our markets, and they're sending direct mail to the same list we're sending to, and they're cold calling the same list we're cold calling. So what happens is that we're all kind of tripping over each other, and we're trying to go out and get obviously the best deal we possibly can. But in a seller's market where inventory is low, a seller has choices on who they decide to do business with. And it can't always be driven on the highest offer, right? So are you seeing that now, Alex, where you have your market, your sales guy goes out and he goes, yeah, there's like 4 other people there, and they're just trying to take the highest and best offer, right? How do you, it's like, how do you compete with that, right? Yeah. And that's what we're going to talk about. Competing with it.
Another house we went to, like I showed you the other day, there's the picture of the postcards, right? All stacked up on the person's desk or table or whatever it is, and you're like, holy smokes, yeah. We're all competing for the same thing, and really everybody's going to be right around the same price. That's what I tell sellers when our guys go out there. It's like, we're all going to be around the same price. It's really, price is not the end game. It's who's going to be able to get this done for you. Who do you trust that's going to bring this to the finish line?
Right. And you said something incredibly important. And as wholesalers, we sign contracts and we don't even think about it, right? Especially if we've been doing it for a while. Alex has done, hundreds, if not thousands of houses. I've done thousands of houses. We sign a contract. We don't even think twice about it, right? We just sign the contract and we have our outcomes in there, and then we put it out to our buyers, and we're negotiating and get them under contract and flip it. For a seller, if you put yourself in the seller's shoes, this is one of the biggest events of their entire life, and they are going through a lot of different emotions. They've never done it before. They don't know what to do. They have a lot of different choices, and you said something incredibly important. they want to do they want to do business with someone that they trust. Not only that, because they're signing legal binding documents, but someone they trust is going to be able to execute on the transaction, right? Not just from someone that's just going to tell them what they want to hear, but someone's really truly going to convey confidence and be able to give them an assurance outside of what they say. See, that's important. Right? It's outside of what you say that can give them assurance that you are who you say you are, and that you can close and get the transaction done. So, in the market when there's competition. So, how do we know? First off, we're looking at the market as in for competition. Are you guys seeing out there competition in your market? Are you seeing where you're running into other sellers? We can talk about seller financing. That's another way to structure deals. We do a lot of seller financing deals, Frank. But what are you guys seeing as for competition in your market? So type in yes if you're seeing competition where you're coming up to and meeting with other investors. No, maybe not meeting with them, but you walk in and a seller has other people that they're talking to. So type in yes in the comments if that's what you're seeing. You're seeing, yeah, absolutely, You're running into other people in your market. Are you in your market now? Yep, we got Josh's. He said absolutely yes. Alex is saying yes. Getting a lot of calls from wholesalers. We're getting a lot of calls from wholesalers. Yes. So you're sending out mail. You're still doing marketing, and the seller is saying, we have other offers from other investors, or way too much competition in Tampa. Yep. Yes. Lots of viably houses. Yeah, guys. So you got. So they're putting a lot of marketing out there right now. Yes. So we got John, right, is saying yes. There's other one. Yes. Hi everyone. What's up, Jose Perez? Cool. So question is, are you seeing competition in your market? So my other question is, are you seeing a definitive way? And this is a tough question to kind of answer because it's a long question. It's a long answer to a very short question. But do you have a definitive way to separate yourself from the competition other than price, right? Because what happens is if price is your way of essentially getting the contract, what's happening is your price is going to get higher and higher and higher, and you're going to find that you're going to be putting properties out right now, and you're not going to be able to get them sold. You're going to sit on, for a 1 week and 2 week. Now, we have run into this ourselves. Have you run into this, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, nobody else is going to be able to. If price is the factor where everybody can compete, right? It's just simple. Whoever's going to outbid the other person is the one that's going to win. So if you bring it past that, and it's not about the price, it's about the credibility of the person you're dealing with. It's about the experience that you've got as an investor, or the experience of a company that you're associated with, or a brand that you're associated with, that you can immediately take advantage of. I mean, like, are you rated with the Better Business Bureau? Do you have that kind of experience behind you? Do you have seller testimonials that you can refer to? These are all things that really other people can't compete with unless obviously they have these things. It narrows the playing field from just price when you base it on all those different values and things like that.
Right. So we're going to talk about 3 ways right now, 3 ways that you can separate yourself from the competition, right? These things will change your business. These things will, several of them are advanced. But even if you're brand new, you can participate in these 3 ways. So we're going to talk about 3 specific ways that you can literally eliminate the competition, where no one else can touch you, and you can do deals. You can consistently do deals. So who wants to hear about that? 3 specific ways that you can literally polarize sellers to do business with you, right? And be able to exit the properties and be able to make a higher profit.
So you use the word
that's
polarize. Can you explain what polarize means?
Polarize means is that they, what happens is, just think of focus, right? So focus. So you got focus and you're sitting there looking, and what happens is something gets your attention and then you fixate on that one thing. How do you get a seller to fixate on you and then everything else just kind of fades away just because it's not relevant, right? It's not relevant. And Jonathan, it's not all branding, right? It's not all branding, but we'll talk about the three. So let's talk about the three. So I'm going to give you a high level of the three, and then we're going to go deep on each one. Okay. The first one is deal structure, right? So Alice can we'll talk about each one. So the first one is deal structure. So there's three ways to basically separate yourself and be able to get deals done. The first one is deal structure. If you have the ability to structure deals better than your competition, offer higher than your competition, but understand what sells to the marketplace, right? What sells to your buyers, then you'll be able to structure a deal that benefits you, it benefits your buyer, and also it eliminates all the competition, right? So the first one we're going to talk about is deal structure. The second one we want to talk about is branding and understanding, basically positioning yourself with clout behind you, right? So for example, if you have Amazon, right? And you have a mom and pop, company. How does a mom and pop company selling similar products as Amazon does and compete with Amazon, right? The only thing they can compete on is price, and that's pretty difficult to compete on price because Amazon literally has every product on the marketplace, right? So think about it. The brand has clout just behind it because of its reputation in the market, and also because, literally, they're able to create instant credibility and instant trust. So the first one is deal structure. The second one is positioning yourself as a brand with clout. Now, you just can't make up a brand and make up and say, okay, I'm going to be, Joe Blow buys houses, right? And all of a sudden, boom, you have instant credibility. It doesn't work that way, So the bottom line is how do you become an Amazon overnight in your market just like that? That becomes a question. So that's number two. Number two. So we got structuring deals. We've got branding with massive clout, becoming the Amazon in your market. Which, think about it. If you're the Amazon in your market, what other wholesalers can compete with you? Right? They can't. Right? And that's what we're seeing in the market right now. So number three is the way you exit the property, the size of your buyers list, and how you exit. There's strategic ways right now in the market that you can exit the property and for a high. So if you have 10 people on your buyers list, and someone has 35,000 people on their buyers list, who is going to be able to exit at a particularly higher price to create larger margins? Do you think, Alex?
Yeah, that's that list right there it's pretty much exactly what you're looking at. You've got deal structure, because a lot of people are just like, okay, yeah, I offer cash, and if I can't do it, well, then I'm out. So that limits you severely. From the branding standpoint, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I have a brand or whatever. I put together a website and I've got a cool little logo, and I got a nifty little phone number that that I found and a domain, but it's really hard to create. Well, so Amazon is global, right? Obviously, having a global brand is very difficult to do. But if you have a way where you can, if you have a national way that you can be branded, that's even better. That's something that not everybody can do. Not everybody can create a site that's got a page for every county and every city in the country. You just can't. You can't do that, right? Right. So from the branding standpoint, and then the third point. What was the third point that you had mentioned?
Third one is have a strategic exit, meaning either have a bigger buyers list, or we're going to talk about a couple different ways. One, and how to obtain a very large buyer's list, right? And number two is how to literally have your property seen by retail buyers, you know, thousands of retail buyers almost instantly. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
There's a lot of people that aren't even doing right now, especially in the wholesale market, that are missing out on tens of thousands of dollars. So that's what we're going to primarily focus on this call. And I think this is probably one of the highest value calls you could possibly attend. So if you guys could do me a favor, if you could share this with your people in network, people you know, stuff like that. We're going to dive into those three. If you press the like button, the love button, whatever, the interaction button, tell us whatever. We're excited to talk to you about this, but I'm going to tell you right now, this call is going to be a game changer for you. This is going to be like a pivot point because of these three things are literally have the ability to change your business. The first one is education, right? The second one, you literally can become overnight. And the third one, you can build towards, right? The first one talks about is all about education, deal structure. So we're going to talk about that deal structure. The second one, you can become, you can buy into, you can invest in. And the third one is that you can build strategically, but it's also a little bit of education, doing something right on the spot. So ready to get into it?
Let's go.
What we're going to talk about. All right, so deal structure, the number one thing, right? We got three. First one is deal structure. Deal structure, what is deal structure? Okay, for an example, we had I was in Tampa on Monday, so we typically do what's called a Monday morning meeting. And in that Monday morning meeting, we go through all of our properties. We go through literally all of the appointments and the scenario for the appointment. They could give me the scenario on appointment because if they didn't get the contract on the appointment, and then we'll talk about how to structure the deal to get the appointment. So on Monday, I was in Tampa. Yesterday, we did our Monday meeting on Tuesday. And we were talking about a specific deal, an appointment where he couldn't get the contract, right? First was in foreclosure. So tell me what you do with this, Alex. So first was in foreclosure, right? The first loan was in foreclosure. The second loan was a HELOC that was drawn about $80,000 on, right? And the first was about $102,000, $103,000. The second was about $80,000 roughly. And that property is worth about $220 or so, $220, $230. Right, so the first is going into foreclosure in December. The seller at this particular point, she wanted she wanted like 210. Was her number at 210, and she was expecting about $10,000. So he was like, "There's no way I can get to 210. I can't offer a $210,000 cash offer. I just can't do it." And I couldn't get it done. So he left without the contract on that specific deal. Right? So we talked about it, right? And I gave him a way to structure the deal, and then he goes and gets the contract today.
All right. Seems a little complicated for me. What's that?
That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's education. So now we talk through the situation. So first off, is there motivation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's motivation. She's going to lose her house, right? There's the second HELOC for $80,000. The first is like $103,000.
Is the HELOC behind as well?
Yeah. So now the HELOC's not behind, right? But the first is behind, and it's on auction. The HELOC, he didn't know if it was behind. It could be behind or could not be.
Okay. All right.
And so that's like $183,000, right? And she wants $210,000, right? So she wants $27,000.
What do you do?
It's worth about $220,000, $230,000 maybe.
It doesn't seem like a lot of equity to me. I mean, at first glance, I would be like, man, I don't know if I want to mess with it, right? But
yeah, see, we're all over that, right? Because I'm telling you, education is key. People go, when you guys are watching right now and you're doing this, education about deal structure will separate you, right? So all the other wholesalers that she met with, all the other guys in our market, Phoenix, the hottest market in the country, passed on this deal. right? So first off, we have to understand one thing, right? So she wanted $27,000. She thought she wanted $27,000, right? Once we got to the bottom line of exactly what the money was for, and she thought she had to have additional money to pay back, you know, the bank, and literally that's where the negotiations start. It starts from sellers say what they want, but that's not means that they're going to get 27,000, right?
Absolutely.
So just because the seller says, I want 210 or I want $27,000, that doesn't mean you have to give it to them. It doesn't mean you have to give it to them. It's negotiating. That's the point one of negotiating. It's like the first inning of a baseball game, right? You don't quit the first inning because someone gets a home run and just, okay, now we're done, right? It's that's the first inning. You got 9 innings to go. That's a lot of time negotiating back and forth. So the bottom line is sellers tell you what they want. It doesn't mean that's what they're going to get. So in this particular scenario, right, she owes roughly 183 on the first of 103 and a second of $80,000. So you have $183,000. She wanted 210. First off, figured out, okay, exactly what's the 210? What's the $27,000 going to be used for? And she wanted to use it, for really nothing more than moving into another property and paying off some credit card debt, right? So that was it. So what we did on this particular deal is structured it where we left the first in place, right? Left the second in place, right? But we negotiated where buyer has the right, right? So first off, buyer agrees to pay seller, and we gave her basically a net of $10,000 at escrow, close of escrow. So that's the first number, $10,000 net at close of escrow. Okay. The second one is we have $103,000 that has to be paid. Once we understand that all junior liens under that $103,000 is going to be wiped out at the foreclosure, so the second tier $80,000 HELOC is essentially going to be wiped out. So the way we structured the deal is that we had the right to purchase a property, subject to basically negotiating and paying off any liens, judgments, and the key word was settlement. We purchased a property subject to purchasing the settlements of all the liens, judgments, mortgages, all the stuff like that.
So you want to short the second?
So we're going, essentially we're going to go to the HELOC, which is going to get nothing. Now, the house is, it needs fix up and stuff like that. It's not completely trashed, but it's still like rent ready movement. It's not completely trashed.
Right.
But still, it's not 2018, 19 Granite County. It's not dead. So in this particular case, because we knew the second, right, is going to get nothing in a matter of a month and a half, then we can go negotiate that second and negotiate it down as low as we want. Now, I've negotiated seconds from 86,000 to 3,000, 50,000 down. I had 56,000 one. We negotiated down to 10,000. So literally what that did is opens up equity in a deal that everybody else is going to pass on, right? So we're going to go negotiate with that second 80,000, and I know for a fact we'll be able to negotiate and get that down. Let's say theoretically, for some reason, we can't, right? We can't. So we're in it for 183 plus 10s, 193 is worth 220, right? Now we wrapped the existing loans on the property. Now, if we have the ability to pay off that one, let's say we're going to pay it off for $3,000. Great, we can pay it off for $3,000. We need $3,000. $10,000 is total cash needed. We could sell it for $20,000 down, right? If we want to, or $23,000 down, make 10 grand on it. But in this particular scenario, that's if we can negotiate down. What if we can't negotiate it down? How much cash is needed to close the deal? We need reinstatement money. We need 10,000 of the seller, and we need reinstatement money to bring the first and possibly the second together, right?
Right.
So we need to figure out what that is. So we're going to figure out the reinstatement. Let's say it's $5,000 to reinstate, $10,000 to give her. Now we're in it for $15,000. Well, guess what? We can sell it for $25,000 down, subject to a 183 purchase, right? So we have 183 purchase on the loan. We reinstate the loan and everything for $5,000. We give her $10,000, $25,000 down The company, we make $10,000 on the deal. Now, those loans can stay in place and they're wrapped and they're stayed in place, and we can negotiate that for 5 years or 7 years. Typically, on a house with marginal equity, we'll negotiate it for 7 years. If it has some equity in the property, we'll negotiate it for 5 years. So we literally turned a deal into a no deal, and it could be a potentially huge deal. Now you want to get real fun? You want to have fun with this thing now? This is where a marginal deal. Now we have a $10,000 deal, and what we have is what's called now money, and then we have what's called future money. Now and future money. So let's say theoretically we can negotiate down the $80,000 second down to say $5,000, and we sell it for 25 grand down, right? So now we're only going to make 5 grand now money, right? But what if we negotiate that down to $3,000? How much do we owe? 106.
106.
We own 106,000 on a $220,000 ARV house. So guess what we do? We create a secondary note on the property. We create that secondary note for the 80 or 9,000 made payable to one company, right?
Right.
So now we turn around and we collect $5,000. 10,000 goes to the seller. The other $10,000 goes to reinstating the loan and paying off the second loan for $5,000. And then now we create an $80,000 note with payments that are deferred in the future. Now they're only going to pay on the first mortgage. Let's call it $600 a month. They can rent it for $1,100, $1,200 a month. Now there's cash flow in the property. There's a little bit of equity in the property. Now we have a future note that is sitting out there earning interest in the deferred status, right? It sits out there for 5 years. Right? I can sell that note at a discount up front, or I could just hang on to it, and when they refinance, I get paid in the future. So now you get now money and you get future money. So that deal that turned into a $5,000 or $10,000 deal turns into a $95,000 deal plus interest. So how many of those deals are you walking away from where the seller owes money on the deal, right? Seller owes money on the deal, and you're walking away from it. So we're talking about how to differentiate yourself from the competition, right? The first way is understanding deal structure. And if you understand deal structure, then you can offer a seller their full asking price if there's terms, if you have terms on the deal, because terms sell in this market. Our best deals that sell the absolute fastest are deals on terms. Have you ever done deals on terms? Or you just do straight?
What's that?
Have you done deals on terms or done straight just cash deals?
No. I've definitely done. I've done subject to deals. I actually bought my last personal residence before this one was a subject to deal. I actually took over the loan and start making the payments on it. And now, and then I had a house. So I've done subject to deals. I haven't done many owner finance transactions outside of that. But other than that, not a ton, mainly subject to, but not those creative type wrap deals like you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right, Rhonda. Second lien's a HELOC. Sorry about that. Home equity line of credit. I'm sorry. I use verbiage. I apologize. HELOC. Yeah, home equity line of credit on the second. Right there that came out. So so Ron's basically saying you need to be up more and close and personal. Actually, it's more becomes solving the problem, right? Wouldn't you agree, Alex? When you're meeting sellers, solving the problem is probably one of the best things you can do.
How can I help you? Exactly. It's not about, hey, what can I get this property for? It's how can I help you today? Right.
How can I get it done? So that was a pretty complicated deal, right? That deal is a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more complicated. Let's break it down in a simple type deal. You have a seller, they're motivated, they owe 180, the house is worth 200. It's just a straight $180,000 loan, right? And the house is worth $220,000, and they put it on the MLS, they've tried to sell it. They couldn't get their price for it, and they just want to get out of it. So they're motivated, right? And the question becomes, And I'm going to talk about, John, I'll talk about how to convey the property. And John just asked, what do you do with the insurance on a subject to? And I want to make sure I'm clear that we do not do subject to when we're flipping the property. We're flipping the paper. We do what's called an agreement for sale, a land contract, or contract for deed. So if you understand that. So I'm going to explain that. So let's just take a basic, simple deal. They owe 180, it's worth 220. They tried to sell it on the market, they can't sell it for some reason. Maybe the realtor sucks and they just can't sell it. You come into the picture, they need $5,000 to move, right? To basically get it done. They give them 185 and they're going to be happy. So what do you do on that deal? Most people again would pass on that deal, right? Because there's not enough equity on it, right? I mean, it's like, that's a passable deal. They would pass on it. So with this particular scenario, how do you structure it? How do you get leads come in like this all the time? So if a lead comes in like this, they owe $180,000 and it's worth $220 and they want $5,000. What we do is we write the contracts and basically a seller agrees to convey title on an agreement. Hold on, Alex, I'm frozen.
Okay, are you back?
Okay.
I think you're back.
Okay, I'm back. So sorry about that. I was freezing. I was cold. Yeah, not in Phoenix. So anyways, so you have $180,000 second. We do a land contract, contract for deed, or an agreement for sale, right? Those are the mechanisms that we do. And the title doesn't transfer until the underlying loan is paid off with those mechanisms. And I'm using 3 different mechanisms because it depends on the state you're in. If you're in Texas, they do land contracts. Like Chicago, they do agreement for sale, or they do a contract for deed. In Phoenix, they do agreement for sales. So the bottom line is the premise of this is the underlying contract or the title doesn't transfer until the loan is paid off. Now, in this particular scenario, you can flip that paper. You assign your position out on that particular note. So $180,000 seller owes. It's worth $220 if you can follow me. The seller wants $5,000, right? So that you got to look at the total cash needed, and the total cash is needed $5,000. So what you can do is arbitrage that down payment by marketing it with seller financing, $180,000 seller financing, with $15,000 down, with $20,000 down, right? So $20,000 down, seller finance $180,000. Now they have $20,000 built-in equity because it's worth $220,000. Now they get financing. So the question becomes, who becomes your buyer, right? Who becomes your buyer? Well, we know there's 3 different buyers, right? We got fix and flip buyers, we've got buy and hold buyers, right? And we got retail buyers. Those are the 3 different buyers. So a fix and flip buyer, they're not going to buy that property, right? Because there's no equity in it. So we either have a buy and hold buyer, right? Or we have a retail buyer. Well, a retail buyer, they're going to be all over this property because they, and this would be a perfect property to market on Craigslist because they don't have to go through bank financing. They literally can take over the $180,000 note, right, on that property, and they can buy the property subject to the agreement for sale or a land contract or contract for deed. So with that case, you're arbitraging the down payment. So let's look at the total cash needed. Let's say $20,000 down, $5,000 goes to the seller, $15,000 goes to you. Go ahead.
That's a word right there. Arbitrage means making the difference between one number to the next, just in case anybody was curious about that.
Yeah, so arbitrage is the arbitrage between the down payments. Now the 180 stays constant because that's what's owed. So the arbitrage is between what you're paying the seller and what the buyer is paying as a down payment. So I call it the down payment arbitrage. And it's the down payment to the seller versus down payment from the buyer. And that difference is 25 from the buyer, 5,000, or 20 from the buyer, 5,000 to the seller, $15,000 arbitrage spread that you make. Now, let's talk about conveying title. Conveying title, you do it in agreement for sale, right, which is a recorded document. It's recorded on the county records, land contract or contract for deed, the same thing. And it's basically stated that the underlying note or the underlying title will not transfer until the underlying note's paid off. So everything's signed up front from the seller perspective. That means the agreement for sale, land contract signed, the title deed is signed, and it's held in escrow or a servicing company until the underlying note's paid off. Now what happens is, in this particular point, you pay the servicing company, and the servicing company pays the bank. Someone asked about insurance, right? John asked about insurance. What do you do with insurance? You have the seller keep the insurance in place, and then as a buyer, you get new insurance on that particular property. So you continue to have both insurances on the property, right? That's a down payment arbitrage, right? But if $15,000 is deducted from the 180, no, that's not correct, Fernando. $15,000 is not deducted, $15,000 is added on. Remember, the purchase price on this particular property at $15,000 would be $195. That's the purchase price, of which $195, right? No, let's call it $20,000 down, Fernando, to make sure. So the purchase price is $200, of which $180,000 seller finance, $20,000 down. Now that $20,000, $5,000 goes to the seller, $15,000 goes to you. Does that make sense? Okay. And in this particular case, back to the insurance here, the insurance stays in place, and then the new buyer that you assign that to will get insurance. Okay, so Mark is asking a sandwich lease option. Mark, I don't like lease options, and here's the reason why, and I'm sure Alex can attest to it, and maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm not a big lease option fan because let's say you're structuring this deal on an agreement for sale. It's going to be a 5-year deal, right? Or even an 18-month deal or whatever, or 24-month deal. With an agreement, with a lease with an option to purchase, you have to go hunt down the seller now to get them to sign all the documents to come to closing. So I've done lease options on properties, and the market as it ascended, basically the house was worth $50,000, $60,000 more. I had it sold because I turned around and sold it. And the seller's like, you know what? I'm not selling. Sue me. Right? So, or I can find the seller. So when I was like, well, how can I overcome this whole mess? Well, that's why I talked to Eileen. I talked to my title company. Talked to my attorney. It's like, listen, why don't you just do an agreement for sale, land contract or contract for deed, and everything signed up front, title signed up front. You never need the seller again after the deal's structured. You never have to get signatures again after the deal's structured. It's done, right? And that is a better way to protect yourself in that scenario.
People are saying Joe McCall is not going to like that. That's why I was making a funny face on that.
Well, I literally just hung out with Joe McCall on Monday. It's me personally, right? It's me personally. I don't like doing it because I've got burned, and I found different ways to structure. And what I found is people will put $25,000 down on an agreement for sale. They really don't put $25,000 down on a lease option, Yeah,
because they own the place. Yeah, I mean, lease options to me is a little spooky too, because you just don't know what the tenant buyer is going to do to that property, what they're going to leave you with, even if they don't buy it, and then who has to fix it. So preferences, right?
It's just preferences. The way I mean, if you talk to Joe, I guarantee he has a compelling argument on why he believes that they are incredible. Okay, this is a great question. Can I close a deal now, even if I can't have the seller move out to November 16th? If so, how do I do this? How is it written? This is a great question, and I can tell you, we do a ton of these, and this what it's called is post possession. Have you done these, Alex?
Yes. In fact, I have.
So why don't you explain how you do it, your post possession?
Can I close on a deal now, even if the seller can't move out? Yeah. So basically, what we do is if the seller absolutely needs the money right away, and it's something that we actually have to close on, what we do is a escrow agreement, which states we're going to leave. Let's say it's we're going to buy the house for $100,000, and we're going to leave $10,000 in escrow. Yep. So what that means is the seller signs an agreement. It's an escrow agreement, and it states, we understand that $10,000 will be left in escrow, and when we leave the property and leave it in broom swept condition or whatever you can want to negotiate, and everything, and all the trash is removed and everything's moved out, we will get that $10,000 back at the close or after that point. So that's how I handle it.
Yeah, and honestly, that's exactly how we handle it, and we call it post-possession. But from a wholesaling standpoint, what we do is we get that, it's called a post-possession agreement. Typically, your title company has something they can write up. They're going to hold back the $10,000 in his example. And then if they don't move out by November 16th, then what happens is every single day it ticks off and then there's a drop dead date of, say, December 1, where they lose 100% of the money. So it's like $250 a day, so it hurts pretty bad, or $500 a day that they're going to, huh?
You got to do that, or if you make it cheap enough, it's just funny money, and they just don't move out.
Yeah.
And just bring it all the way down. You know, like
yeah, so that's like, yeah, they're just like, oh, it's just rent. So you make it $500 a day that they're staying there, and if they don't move out by so and so date, like in this particular case, December 1st. Then they lose all of the $10,000, and then you can evict them, right? So, am I still glitchy? Yeah. So with that particular thing, that's what you do there. What we do is we do the same thing. We write a post-possession, but on a wholesale perspective, what we do is now we sell the deal to our buyer with the post-possession in place. So they know when they buy it, right? They close on it next week, that they know the seller they're going to basically buy that agreement as well, that the seller's going to be in there.
Just assigning the agreement, just a different agreement you're assigning. You can really sign any agreement unless it says it's not assignable, and that's just the same thing. So it just trails right along with as part of the contract that you're assigning as an addendum or whatever it is.
Yeah, so Matthew's asking, I have a seller that agreed to seller finance me 100% of the duplex. If I didn't want to keep it, I wholesale it. I personally guaranteed the purchase for what it's worth. Do I need to tell the seller? Well,
you personally guaranteed the purchase. Does that mean yourself or the performance of it? I mean, that's what a contract is. You're personally guaranteed. A contract isn't a personal guarantee, but maybe are you saying I am going to close on it?
First off, Matthew, never personal guarantee any loan ever. Unless it's like a personal house, something that's even when we buy these apartment complexes, there's no personal guarantee on it. It's a non-recourse loan, meaning they can't go after you. Even on a $2 million, we just did a $3.7 million loan on a 128-bed apartment complex. That $3.87 million loan was non-recourse. It's a Fannie Mae loan. So I don't personal guarantee anything, right? I've learned that a bit back in the day, and even back in the day, I didn't personal guarantee. I'd rather pay a higher interest rate than personal guarantee anything. So, but to answer your question on that particular scenario, if they're willing to sell it to you at 100%, you can arbitrage that down. Meaning, let's say, it's worth $200 and they're willing to finance $200,000 and the duplex cash flows, you can turn around and sell it for, $20,000 down, and you'll carry the $200,000 with a purchase price of $220. Go ahead. And carry the note for 5 years or 7 years or whatever the underlying agreement is. So we talked about number one, right, is deal structure. Deal structure, I would highly recommend you dive in and learn deal structure the best you absolutely can. Deal structure is incredibly important when it comes to understand. And here's the thing: there's so many different scenarios when it comes to deal structure, right? It's something that's incredibly important. So that's number one, deal structure. So understanding that you can get more contracts signed. Now, I want to talk real quick about a specific deal structure that you could do that you could get more contracts than anybody else. And if this is where a seller is asking for more money. So let's say theoretically, again, the house is worth $200, but the seller owes 60 grand. And the seller wants, right? The seller wants 175, right? What do you do?
So
then they're like, I'm dead set on 175. You know, I want 170. I got other offers coming in at 150 and 160. If you can give me 175, you get the contract, right?
And the house is
so the house is worth 200. It wants 175, and the seller owes, let's just call it 75 grand to make it easy.
Are they willing to hold the paper?
That's the question, right? So the question is, the lead comes in, they owe 75, so that you know there's equity there, and they want to walk away with 100 grand cash. That's what their motive is. That's what they want. That's what they're not going to take anything less. You know. Other offers that come in, they got offers for 155, 160, 145, and they come to you and say, "Listen, I've got these other offers. If you can do 175, I'll sign the contract today." What do you do?
Guess I need to brush up on my deal structure skills. You got me stumped on that one, right? So,
but you started out with the right question, right?
Right. Owner financing. I mean, that's the only way to do it. I'm just trying to think the way on the side of owner financing it, how you would go about doing it. They want $100,000, right? So, I mean, and they owe 70. You'd have to see if they would take the $70,000, if they would do that subject to. I don't know. Teach me.
First off, you need to gather some more information, right? So you need to gather. You're going to go in. You're going to build a rapport with them. Okay, here's what James, and James is a very smart dude, right? So he's been around the game for a while. I'll tell you what I do. I give him the 175. If they're willing to allow me to make payments for X amount a month, I'm willing to make payments on it until the balance gets to where my cash price is of X amount of dollars. Okay, very good. James. Now, James, how long have you been in the game, James? Because you've been around for a while. He's bought at least 5 or 6 years. He's out of Kansas, right? Kansas City?
Yeah, he's Kansas City.
He's Kansas City, but he's in both Kansas City. He's like, is it Kansas City and Kansas City?
You're willing to make payments for X amount of months.
But James been in there. Okay, so he's nailed it on the head. The only difference was what I would do is
9 years.
9 years. So 9 years in the business in KC, right? So yeah. So he's done a thing or two because he's seen a thing or two, right? Have you seen that commercial from? Yes, Kansas City Kids, right? Oh. So anyways, so yes, right? So go in and offer the 175. Get the deal under contract for 175, but you got to find out some information first. You got to find out, do they need the cash or can they wait on the cash? Are they willing to pay, let's say it's an investment property and they're going to pay a capital gain on it, right? If it's a personal property, they might not, right? If it's obviously the gains under 250,000 or if they're married under 500. So in this particular case, it's investment property. Instead of paying the capital gain on it, now you got $100,000. Say, listen, and they say, listen, I don't really need the cash now. We say, listen, I'll give you the 175. We're going to do $100,000 note on the property, and we typically structure those notes with 0 interest, right? 0 interest, and we'll structure it for a 10-year time frame. And we're going to do a note, and then we're going to do deferred payments on that note for the first 5 years, right? So we're going to do a 0 interest with deferred payments for the first 5 years on the property with a 10-year note, and then after 10 years, maybe you'll go, it'll start taking some interest, but then we'll now have a $75,000 first loan on it, which the payments are going to be $400 or $500 a month. Rents on it, let's call it a $200,000 house, $1,100 or $1,200. Now, what do we have? Now we have a $500 payment. We have a note for $75,000 deferred for 5 years at 0 interest and now it rents for $1,100 or $1,200. Now you're making $700 a month cash flow on a $175,000 purchase, right? So
if
either
the seller's willing to carry on that.
Right. So either A, you hang on to the property and keep it in your portfolio cash flow, or what you do is you turn around and flip it, right? You flip it and arbitrage the down payments on that property, right? In which they're, you know, maybe they want a down payment. Maybe you give them $5,000 down to be able to make that happen. Go ahead.
I'll give you a little more interesting scenario here is you can get, so that $100,000 note is going to go into second position, right?
Correct.
So with that, you should allow, you should negotiate what's called a substitution of collateral, right? Meaning that if you sell that property, you can then release that note from it and attach it to a different property. And now you've got $100,000 interest free to go buy houses with.
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. That's pretty smart there. You can move it. All right, so we've talked about deal structure. Someone asked if we have a deal structure course. We'll talk about that in a second. So number two is, remember, now what we're talking about, how to differentiate yourself from all the competition. We said the 3 ways to differentiate yourself were: number 1, deal structure, which we just talked about for about 20 minutes, is deal structure. Number 2 is branding. Being a brand, how to be the Amazon in your market. If you can be the Amazon in your market, you'll create instant credibility, instant trust, and you'll polarize the seller to do business with you. And number 3 is have a larger buyer's list or a different way to exit than your competition. If you have a better way to exit at a higher price than your competition, then obviously you can pay more on the front end, even if you don't have deal structure and even if you don't have branding, right? So, but if you have all 3, you become hyper effective. You become hyper effective in your business, okay? So remember, that's the 3. We just talked about deal structure. This is obviously recorded here on Facebook. If you want to go back and watch it again to be able to do that. Okay, number 2 is branding, right? So the first way to basically eliminate the competition, differentiate yourself, is to be able to deal structure. And when you deal structure, you're able to do better, higher, better deals with sellers, give them what they want, still make a deal for you through the down payment arbitrage, through making killer things happen with note structures, negotiating loans that.
Is that your
Look at this, I'm in my office and I brought my stupid dogs with me here. Got the cleaners at the house and they're who's at the door? They keep on knocking at the door. Oh, yeah. Tell them to go around. We got a courier at the door trying to get in. And it's funny because every time we have a courier come to the office, they always do it when we're on live cast for some reason. They're sitting there pulling on the door. We have these doors are set up like that. But anyway, so all right. So number 1 is deal structure. Number 2 is branding, right? That's a way that you can polarize your seller to do business with you. And this is becoming the Amazon in your market. So the best comparison I can give you, if you got a website that you just trip across and you're looking for a product and then you have it on Amazon, which would you prefer to do the business out of? Would you prefer to do it with Amazon, or would you prefer to do it with some random website? So how do you become the Amazon in your business? And why do you go to Amazon? What's the psychological benefit, or why psychologically do we go to Amazon? Well, we go to Amazon for trust, right? We trust them. We know if we don't like the product, we can return the product, and we literally get refunded immediately, right? On that, we've had they're known by other people that give them reviews. You can see reviews on there, which are important. So the question becomes, how do you become the Amazon? So now if a seller has all options, they get Alex's postcard, they get my postcard, they get your postcard, they see you on pay-per-click or whatever, and now they have a seller has options. Now they have offers, right? Because remember, first way we said we could deal structure, second way is branding, third way is how you exit the property, your buyer side. So now you come in, and now they're gonna have a choice on who they decide to do business with. So they got Joe's Buys Houses over here. We've got, they have this random CBT Homes over here, and you've got, Jill Buys Houses over here, right? And they're all nice. They all seem like nice people. They all, walked through the house and gave the estimate, gave them all around the same offers. And then you come in. How do you, now they've got 3 offers from 3 other people. They're all around the same. How do you come in and you win the contract, right? How? And if you don't know this specifically, and you can't answer it like that, how I can win the contract right there, then what happens is you're spending money on marketing. You're spending money on, and you're trying to learn marketing. You're learning how to get the best direct mail please and what list you target, and you're learning to set up RVM, and you're getting cold callers to do cold calling, and you're figuring out Google AdWords, and you're spending money on marketing, but you're missing the fundamental point is that it's a people business, and guess what? And your seller now has options because the inventory is low across the country, and there's more people entering the market. When these sellers have options, they have to have a differentiating factor. You have to have a differentiating factor that will literally eliminate all your competition, eliminate them all. So that is the absolute key fact. So how do you do that instantly? And then how do you do it strategically? There's 2 ways to do it, right? Number 1 is branding, right? So branding is important. So talk about branding, Alex, on what that means to you and how you use it in your market in Virginia. And I'll tell you how I use it here in Phoenix.
So branding is a way that you can really stand out from just being, hey, I'm Alex and I want to buy your house, right? Yes, I am Alex, but I'm also with a national brand. It's 1-800-FAIR OFFER in my market. And through that brand, when I tell people, number 1, I'm with 1-800-FAIR OFFER, or if they go to a website and they go through pay-per-click and they go to 1-800-FAIR OFFER, they automatically know my phone number by just looking at the logo. They know it just when I speak to them. When I follow up with them, hey, I'm with 1-800-FAIR OFFER. And when I leave the house, or one of my guys leaves the house, we're leaving and with 1-800-FAIR OFFER with a credibility kit that's 1-800-FAIR OFFER, right? So we have a lot of different branding tools that are in place, and every single time when we market and we come in from different angles, it all comes back to that brand. So people are being conditioned to know our phone number and being conditioned with that trust and credibility factor, being with the Better Business Bureau and all that kind of stuff. It just ties everything together and builds that trust and credibility in a way without me even have to say, this is why you should do business, and then trying to explain myself. It's just kind of naturally already there, done through the brand.
Right. Absolutely. So for branding on our perspective is we look at branding at 2 different ways. Number 1 is what we do before the appointment, and then what we do after the appointment or during the appointment, right? And also what we do after the appointment. So what we do before the appointment, right, is that first off, we're going to be hyper targeted on our perfect seller, our seller avatar that we call it. And once we have our seller avatar, then we have the ability to, and I call it, you want to ambush your seller, right? You want to ambush. I used to be a Marine, and what happens is you literally ambush. When you do an ambush, you surround them from all angles, right? You have you do air assault, right? You have ground assault. They're stepping on landmines, right? You're completely doing an ambush, right, on your enemy in this particular case. No, this isn't your enemy. Obviously, this is your clientele that you're going to be doing business with, but the ambush means you surround them. So how do we ambush our sellers, right, is what we do is not only now that we identify our sellers, we can skip trace those sellers. We can get their email addresses. We can get their direct phone numbers. We can get their cell phone numbers. We can do RVM messages to them, ringless voicemail. So from a seller's perspective, they get a voicemail that comes into their cell phone, and they listen to, hi, this is so-and-so from 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, and we're looking to buy houses in your neighborhood if you're interested. So they hear it's 1-800-FAIR-OFFER on the phone. And then they get a postcard, a 1-800-FAIR-OFFER postcard. Then they get a 1-800-FAIR-OFFER letter. And then they go online on Facebook and they see 1-800-FAIR-OFFER on Facebook, right? Then they open up their Gmail account. They see us on 1-800-FAIR-OFFER in their Gmail account. And then they go on a website and they see a banner, a 1-800-FAIR-OFFER banner or video, right? And then they turn on the TV and they see a TV ad from 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. They're completely ambushed and surrounded with our brand, but we get hyper-targeted first on who exactly our seller is, and then once we get hyper-targeted, we can surround them or ambush them with our brand, just like Amazon does, right? You look for a product on Amazon, next thing you know, everywhere you look, you're gonna see that product online. The only thing that they don't do is they don't drop you a voicemail, they don't drop you a text, or they don't drop you and start dropping you direct mail. But imagine if they did, you know what I mean? That'd be insane. So number one is you ambush your seller. So the question is, now if I ambush my seller, and now my seller, they saw me on Facebook, they got a postcard from me, and what most of all your competition's doing, Joe buys houses, Liz buys houses, CT4 homes or whatever, and they're all sending just a postcard, they're getting a response, and then now they're having to convince the seller of their credibility of who they are. So now what you do is now you're seen everywhere. They see you on Facebook, they see you on Google, they see you in their Gmail box, they see you on TV, they see you everywhere. Now you show up. Is there a different positioning standpoint when you show up versus your competition? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Right? That's number one. Right? Number one. So number one is we surround our seller. We ambush our seller. Our perfect avatar seller, we ambush him. Number one. Number two is that when you show up, is there a different positioning standpoint when you... okay. So my thing was going haywire. So the bottom line now here is once you ambush them, now you show up in the person's house, what do? Well, first off, we have, here, check this out. It's our old logo. We got one's a new logo. We got 1-800-FAIR-OFFER shirts, right? So our guys, we have our guys show up with 1-800-FAIR-OFFER shirts. They have 1-800-FAIR-OFFER business cards. They're completely branded 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. Hi, I'm Daniel, or I'm Brad, or I'm Alfonso. I'm for 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, right? Then they have iPad presentations that are 1-800-FAIR-OFFER on their iPad, and they're going to go through a presentation with them, and they're going to explain why we're better than everybody else, right? All they're going to do is go through the presentation. The presentation will explain about the company, who we are, what we do, and how we do it. It's going to overcome all the questions that they ask. It's going to overcome all the objections that they have. And then we have a specific 9-step seller conversion sequence that they go through on every single appointment with a seller. So now we're positioned. They're seen everywhere. We have a specific way that we meet with the seller from a standpoint, and now we're with the seller. Now we can say, listen, I know that you've got offers from somebody else. I know that you've got some postcards from you overcome the objection, but listen, we're the best in town. We're the ones that can get it done. We're the most successful company. We're the largest company in town. And guess what? If you're going to choose to do some business with it, even if someone offers you a higher price, do you really want to sign a legal binding contract and risk the fact that you're going to be now stuck on this property, and you never know? You could be in lawsuits for years, you know, on deals that go south with the wrong person. So we have a Better Business Bureau rating. We're obviously, you've seen us everywhere, and we can get the deal done. Now, we can't offer like these guys because they don't know what they're doing. I can tell you that right now. But we can execute, we can get the deal done at this number. If you can make that work, we can get the contract signed right now. And what to do is then we DocuSign it right there. We DocuSign it on the iPad, we get them to sign it, get it done, and we get the contracts right on the spot. So it's a powerful way to do business, right? Then after, let's say we don't get the contract, there are specific things that we do after the appointment. We're going to leave a credibility package. They're going to get a compliance call from us, and they're going to go through a follow-up sequence that is done strategically to get those contracts. So branding is incredibly important, and understanding how to position before the appointment, what to do in the appointment, and what to do after the appointment will literally 10x your entire business. It'll 10x what you do, right? It'll 10x your entire business. Now, here's the problem though, right? How do you become a brand how do you start marketing from a brand overnight?
Well, I mean, let's tell people what it takes to build a brand real quick. I mean, we've been on this for over an hour now, but we can go over real quick what it takes to be a good brand. You need a good website, right? Can somebody just go out and get a website and develop a logo? I mean, what does it cost to develop a logo? What, a good logo? $500 maybe?
Yeah. A couple $100, right? To do it on 99 designs, right? You can do that, and by the time you pay everything, it's like $100.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, a good logo you might pay $600 to $1,000 maybe, right? Then you need a decent website, right? And obviously, if you wanted to have a website that has national reaching pages for every page for every city and county in the country, I mean, the price on that's pretty crazy, right?
A lot of money.
And we talk about 1-800-FAIR OFFER. I mean, the number itself, if you were to try to get a vanity number right now of that caliber, and vanity number like 1-800-FAIR OFFER or 1-800-GOT-JUNK or something like that, I mean, that's a 6-figure investment to get a number like that. You just can't go and get a vanity number like that, especially with an 800 after it. And we're not talking 866, 877, 888. It's 1-800. It's always been a nationally recognized prefix for a company, right? So you've got that. And then what about going and designing all the different materials, like a seller presentation like you've got, and the different processes and all the different things that go into it? There's a lot of things that go into it. I mean, so if somebody who's going to develop a brand, it could take years. It really could take years to be able to develop a brand that you can do all the things that 1-800-FAIR OFFER has. But
yeah, and be able to get 5-star Better Business Bureau ratings and get all the other 5-star ratings and stuff like that. That all takes time and energy to build, and it creates that credibility with your seller, right? And then you become that's how you polarize your seller to do business with you and only you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So I mean, those are the main majority things that go into it. So for somebody to try to create a brand like that, it's very hard to do. It's very hard to do. I mean, you can create a small little brand, but everything that goes with it and the national reaches of 1-800-FAIR OFFER, it's a huge task to undertake. So how does Sean? How does somebody go to being able to come up with a brand like that?
Yeah. So what we've done, Alex and I, and we've worked into, well, actually Alex did the majority of it, is developed 1-800-FAIR OFFER. It's a national brand. You can literally own your entire county, and you're the only one. A lot of other companies, they'll sell you a zip code, or 3 or 4 zip codes, or 10 zip codes, and they typically charge $97 a month for a zip code. Well, in Phoenix, there's 308 zip codes that you would want, right, to own your entire market. 308 times 97, you're talking about $29,000 a month to own the entire market. Times 12, you're talking $358,000 a year to be able to do that. So what Alex and I done, we found that there was a problem in there, and literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing the 1-800-FAIR OFFER brand. And it's something to where we are now looking for people that could represent the counties, right? Represent the counties. So if you want to learn more about that, you can actually go to, I'll drop a link into on here. If you want to watch a presentation on it, I can do. All right, so I got a presentation. You can, how do I post a comment on here?
Let's see, what you want to post the replay page?
Yeah. Yeah, put the replay page. If you can you post it in the group there?
I'll go to your page direct. Oh, you just put it in the comments. I mean, as a display comment. Here, I'll post it. Right. Actually, here we go. I'll just put this link right here.
So yeah, basically what we've done is we've taken out all the work so you don't have to do it. And so we had the national brand. You can actually say you're the similar brand as Alex Youngblood and Sean Terry, and it allows you to market from the brand. So remember that there's 3 ways. We look at the 4th way, which is actually exiting the property, how you exit the property, and how you sell your property. So there's 3 ways to eliminate the competition. Number 1 is to have deal structure. Number 2 is branding, which we're talking about right now, is understanding branding and how that works. And number 3, either you can create your own brand, or what we have done is we have done it for you, right? So we have done that for you. So all you got to do is you can go to and watch this page at 1-800-FAIR-OFFER there. You can check it out. So that's a way you can do it, right? You can go to 1-800-FAIR-OFFER and check that out. Looks like Alex Youngblood put that in there. Sounds good. All right, so we've created the brand, and now you can use that brand, and now you can literally go into an appointment tomorrow and basically say, hey, I'm with 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. You could show up with a 1-800-FAIR-OFFER shirt. You could use our 1-800-FAIR-OFFER presentation, and you can go in, and now you have the ability to say, listen, we're a nationally recognized brand. We have 5-star rating on the Better Business Bureau, and guess what? Today you can't, but tomorrow you can. Now, what would that do from your marketing perspective, of meeting with a seller? Do you think he'll convert with more? Absolutely. It's an absolute no-brainer. That's our edge in the business, by surrounding or ambushing our sellers with marketing from a complete all-around standpoint. Then we show up in the meeting and we polarize the seller with becoming not only highly professional with a 9-step seller conversion sequence, but also to being a big brand. And number 3 is our follow-up sequence afterwards. So branding is incredibly important. You can go check that out at he posted the link up there. Now, 3rd thing, let's talk about the 3rd thing. The 3rd thing is exiting the property, right? Because let's say you're not good at deal structure. Let's say you don't have a brand and you just happen to get the contract, right? You happen to get the contract on the front end. Now we're talking about exiting the property. What are a way to exit the property and be able to exit potentially at a higher price, right? There's 2 ways. 2 ways to do this. Number 1 is you build a big email list, right? And there's a couple ways to do that. And number 2 is you list your properties on the MLS. You list them on the MLS. Yeah. So you can do that. You have a broker and an agent that you work with, and you have language in your contract that states you have the right to list the property with your equitable interest. Then you can list the property on the market. We list properties on the MLS, right? And if you list properties on the MLS, you're targeting all the realtors in your market that know the process, that will offer retail. Right? So there's an entire model built after it, and it's called Open Door, right? You're familiar with Open Door, right?
Oh yeah.
Open Door offers 85 to 91% of the seller's asking price, and then they turn right back around and they list it on the MLS. Now, I'm saying is if you can get it for 75, 80%, 76%, maybe a little bit higher than your competition, and you can exit retail on it, right, and stick it on the MLS and list it on the MLS, how many more deals do you think you can do, right? How many more deals do you think you can do with that? A lot more.
You open yourself up to a whole nother market that you're overlooking.
Yeah, it literally completely changes. It changes everything. So if you have all those 3, now, how to build the email list, you can actually buy real estate agent lists, and there's a process to be able to send emails out to that list And in Phoenix, there's about 50,000 realtors. I know in Virginia, there's probably about 25 to 30,000 realtors. But imagine getting a wholesale deal and being able to market to 30,000 realtors, 20,000 realtors in your market. Now you're getting more eyeballs on it. And guess what agents develop? Agents develop buyers. You know, that's what they do. They have buyers, especially investment agents. They have buyers. If you get it in front of the right people, you'll get those agents to bring their buyers, and they will buy your properties for higher than normal. Or you list them on the MLS, and you can get them sold that way. One of my friends at Oklahoma, he doesn't do anything with his buyers list. Nothing. Every single property he lists on the MLS. Every single property. So that's, that's pretty insane.
Some people are asking about state legality and all that kind of stuff. You got to check with your state. I mean, in my state, there's actually a box that you can check on the listing sheet that says contract owner. So if you're the contract owner, you just disclose that on your listing, and you're good to go. So you got to check with your state. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the bottom line is, I think it's Mike. He's asking. He's like, with that, you want to obviously talk to your realtor, right? Talk to the realtor. Make sure they're okay with their broker, that you can list properties that you currently have under contract, as long as there's verbiage in the contract stating you have the right to do so. And just show them. This is something you're not hiding. This is something you're not trying to get around or sneak around. This is just, here, I'm looking for an agent that can list our properties that we get under contract. And guess what? Maybe one's going to say, I can't do it. The other one's going to say, I can't do it. The other one says, but guess what? You're going to have one that says, you know what, I can do it. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that, no problem. So you just be straight up with them. Tell them exactly what you're looking to do, how you want to do it. And I even ask them, say, listen, what language do I need in the contract that would make you feel comfortable to be able to list a property I get under contract? And they'll tell you, right? They'll be able to tell you what to do with that. So that's how it handles. If you talk to 10, 15, 20 agents and everyone says, heck no, we're not doing it, then guess what? Maybe you don't do it. Maybe you go down the route where you're going to build a large email list of those agents. So this is Carol asking, so isn't this considered representing the seller, i.e. acting as a real estate agent? No. What happens is the real estate agent is representing you that has equitable interest in the property. The real estate agent isn't representing the seller, right? Otherwise, he'd be listing the property. He's representing me, who has equitable interest in the property. So, and I'm not representing the seller. I have the property under contract with equitable interest. So I'm not representing them at all. So it's actually better to have a real estate agent on your side. So my dispositions guy that does our disposition is a licensed broker. He's a broker. It's better to have a broker on your team that's out there selling your properties, right, to your list and all that type of stuff, and or listing the properties. So basically we've got, those are the, Real Estate Wholesaling Bible is a good book. So the bottom line is, those are the three ways to differentiate yourself. Number one is to basically deal structure, to be able to offer a better structured type of deal. Number two, where you can offer seller financing and stuff like that. Number two is to have a Amazon brand that you can work with. Obviously, Alice and I own 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. You can purchase your county if it's available. A lot of counties are already taken right now. But if you can purchase your county, the entire county, and literally instantly now you have a national branded recognition. Imagine if you were a seller of products, and all of a sudden now that's why Amazon's popular, because now you could push your stuff on Amazon, use the Amazon brand to be able to sell your widgets and whatever you got to sell. Well, what if you could do the same thing with real estate? You could become 1-800-FAIR-OFFER in your market, and be able to represent yourself as 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, you could crush it. So branding is incredibly important, to be branding. Number 3 is to exit your properties either to a large list, a large buyer's list that will allow you to pay more for properties because you can exit higher, or have your properties listed on the MLS, and you can build a relationship with a real estate agent or broker that's comfortable with it, that understands the exact process, and will be able to give you the right language that they need in the contract so they feel comfortable of listing the property. So those are the 3 ways that you can differentiate yourself. Part of people are asking, we had a lot of people ask, well, how do I get more information on seller financing? How do I get more information on this pre-positioning ambush strategy with sellers about my brand? How do I get more information on building that buyer's list? Well, we have open right now, 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. It's available. County's available right now. I think the last time we opened this was about 2 years ago, I think it was.
13.
We made it available. Yeah, so now it's available. We're opening up the counties. And if you go to get 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, or if you go to this page, right? Where is that? If you go to, let me see this. Right.
What page do you want to post?
It's get 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. So 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. Let me see if this works. HTT.
You want to go to get1800fairoffer.com? Is that what you want?
HTTP, yeah. Get1800fairoffer.com. If you go there, you're able to, if you go there, let me see if I can show that. Does that look right on there? Get1800fairoffer.com.
I posted it. I've got the link in there.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But that's that just showed as a comment on there, but I put it in the actual comments, so you can click on that link.
Yeah, so if you go to Get 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, what we're doing is obviously we're, if someone wants to purchase a county and their county happens to be available, then you can purchase your entire county, invest in your county there, and on that page of 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, explain the details, number 1. And number 2, we're doing a 4-week masterclass starting not this week, but next week. And we're going to be on a 4-week masterclass where we are going to go through this whole process. We're going to talk about how to ambush the seller with positioning from all different marketing channels. You actually get our 1-800-FAIR-OFFER iPad presentation. We're going to show you how to, the 9-step seller conversion, what to do within the meeting with actually the seller. We're also going to talk about the follow-up sequences thereafter on how to convert more deals through the follow-up sequence, stuff like that. We're also going to talk about deal structure. So everything that we talked about on how to position yourself and polarize the seller to do business with you, that is what we are going to be covering in a 4-week live masterclass. If we can get it done in 3 weeks, great, but I think it's going to take 4 weeks for us to get it done, because we got a lot of content to cover. But literally, after this 4-week masterclass, not only, I mean, you'll have a national brand that you'll be part of. You'll be part of the 1-800-FAIR-OFFER family. You can wear the 1-800-FAIR-OFFER shirts, logos. You can do business under the 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. You'll be marketing under 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, and then we're going to show you all the ways that we use it to be able to get more contracts signed. And then what happens is now your cost per deal goes down. Right, your cost per deal goes down. It does. Brian Vasquez asks, he goes, what is my why in teaching? Okay, here's and I'll let you. That's a great question. I'll let you say something about that too. So Carol Williams, she looks like she's got to get a hold of you, Alex. The why in teaching. So why do I do this? Well, because I've been doing real estate for 15 years, and I love building the business in real estate. I love hiring great, awesome people. Love doing deals. It's awesome. It's great. But you get to a position where you literally can run an entire operation, wholesaling operation. You can have sales guys, disposition guys, marketing people, You have lead managers are answering all the phones. I literally run my wholesaling business by a 90-minute Monday morning meeting, right? And that's great. It's cranking everything. And I do large multifamily deals, and we do fix and flip properties. We have a open house this weekend for this killer fix and flip. And it's more my wife. That's what she loves to do. But all those are great. You know, they're great, and it's good and it's fun. But there's nothing like teaching and changing people's lives. When a person comes up, and I mean, I'll give an example. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Chris is sitting right here, right? Chris just got a deal, right? We have part of our company that anyone in our whole entire company, right? If they get a self-generated deal, what we do is we'll skip trace it. We'll try to find the seller. We'll book an appointment for our outside sales guys, and we'll have our disposition guys sell it. Once their commission's paid and everything's done, the profit is then split 50-50 with the company. So Chris is going to get about 12 to 15,000. Is it 18? So Chris, right now, today, we closed on it today, right? Chris is getting an 18,000, how much? $450 check today on a deal we closed today. He found the leads. Awesome. Yeah, and he's a video guy, right? I mean, he's an amazing video guy. The guy's amazing, and he makes more money here than he made on his previous job. But talk about an added incentive. Where can you go to work and be able to get an $18,000 payday? So guess what everybody else can do in the office? They see Chris, they're submitting more like deal things left and right, more self-generated deals left and right. It's a great thing. But you know what? The bottom line is, I'm more excited for Chris about getting that deal than our $18,000. Being it's huh? Yeah. No. So more excited about that than anything else, right? And it's a great feeling to be able to do that. And guess what? The sales guys get paid, disposition guy, everyone gets to participate in the transaction, which is phenomenal. So, but I've done live events. You've done a lot of stuff, Alex, and stuff like that. When people come up to you, I mean, I had a guy. Monday. I was in Tampa at this meeting we're at, and the guy came up to me and goes, "Man, you changed my life." He goes, 2 years ago, I was in a bad situation, but you know what? I met you, and you said something to me, and it changed my direction, and now today my life is completely changed. Now, you can't get that flipping a house. You can't get it, right? You can't get this wholesaling a house. You can't do it. So what's my why is doing cool stuff like that. So okay.
That's awesome.
How much marketing do you do for the brand? Every person that owns the brand, right, uses the brand through all their marketing, right? So our direct mail pieces goes out, TV. We don't do national advertising for the brand itself. We will at some point get to a national where we're doing national marketing for the brand. But right now, each individual person, like me, Alex, does his marketing for the brand. What he does is you have the ability to use the brand in your marketing and use all the reputation of the brand in your marketing and use it with your seller. So it depends on how much marketing you do for yourself.
It's not a $50,000 investment. Actually, I was talking to somebody the other day, somebody that wanted to be a licensee, and they said one of the bigger brands is now $70,000 in order to become a franchisee with them. So this is not a $70,000 investment. I mean, it's
yeah. But here's the thing, Alex. If we told you the name of this brand, this national brand, you would know it. Not only is it $70,000, and you're not even buying your county. You're not buying your county. Because they'll sell 10 other people $70,000 in your same market, and they'll have the same brand, number one. So you don't even own your own county for the $70,000 investment. And number two, who pays for marketing?
Everybody pays for marketing.
Right. Everybody
required.
It's required. You have to put in 10 to 15 to 20,000 a month. And let me just keep going. And you have to give a percentage of your deals to the national franchise. That's our competition, right? On 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. So yeah, with that competition, 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, guess what? You don't have to split your deals. You don't have to pay us a franchise fee. It's not even close to $70,000. It's not. We don't sell it by a zip code at $97 a month for a zip code. And for you to buy the county, it's $378,000 a year. People do that. It's not even close to that. It is actually, we're undercutting ourselves dramatically on what we're doing. But
Jeff is asking about holding the county due for $850. So obviously, Jeff, you've gone to the page, you checked out get1800fairoffer.com. So the $850 secures your position in speaking to us, right? Because not everybody's a fit. We've actually had to turn people away because we're looking for people that are going to best be able to represent the brand. And that's not necessarily an experience, right? It's not like you have to have flipped thousands of houses or hundreds of houses, but we can tell when I talk to you on the phone, I can tell if this is something that's going to be a fit for you or not. If you're at a spot where you're trying, you don't have any money for marketing and this is your last amount of money you're throwing at it, this is not a fit for you. But if you're somebody, I was talking to somebody that is just getting started, but by talking to them, I could tell they've got motivation, they've got drive, they're positive, they have some other kind of marketing experience with some other things, and I think it's going to be a great fit for them. So the $850 just shows us that you're serious. This is something you see value in. It's basically an application for you to hold your county, right?
And then if you're accepted to, and after you have a conversation with Alex and everything, and you're a good fit, then it's additional $4,000 to secure your county for a total of $4,850. The total cost is $4,850 to secure your county, and then you'll own it for an entire year.
This is what you have to ask yourself, and what I say to everybody: if this brand will get you one deal,
one deal.
It's $4,850.
That's what I'm saying. We're undercutting ourselves big time on the.
One deal. And here's the thing. Even if somebody uses this brand to market to the same list, to the same whatever list you've got, you're going to pull out leads out of the same list that you would not have got because people respond to brands in a different way than they do just hey, I'm Alex, I want to buy your house. It's just that easy.
All right. Yeah, so we created it. Obviously, you invest in the brand, and then you're able to now you're now can represent yourself as 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, and you're good to go on that. But like I said, it's like a fraction, almost a tenth of a fraction of what, and you don't have to give up.
You're back.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I know. So I just all of a sudden the thing crashed and I was gone. One thing cool about using BeLive TV is that it actually goes back to where you were instead of like if it crashes on Facebook, you're toast. So
yeah. I wanted to answer this question for Chase. So Chase says, I tuned in a little later, but if I'm correct, now we're able to tell the seller we're a part of 1-800-FAIR-OFFER and we can wear the shirts and everything. So we no longer have to make our own personal site with the name we came up with. With this, we can use this one and we can show them the Fair Offer website, correct, with the Fair Offer testimonials that are on the site too. Yes, absolutely. So here's the thing though. We don't want people to necessarily be swallowed up in the brand, right? Because we've got a page a national website that has a page for every county and every city in the country. Here's the amazing thing. You can go in and you can personalize it. You can personalize the page to have your own picture of a house that matches your county. You can change the metadata, which means it's really going to work well for SEO purposes, which means you can make it say whatever you want. You can change the title of the page to say "Sell your house fast in Maricopa County" or whatever keywords you want to maximize. You can change your meta description to be more local and keyword specific. You can put your own picture on the page, your own bio on the page. You can use your own testimonials on the page. You can put your own address and local phone number. And here's the magic of it, right? As people get set up with the site, as people get going with the site, it's going to send awesome signals to Google that's going to push it further through the search engines as people personalize and make the page their own as a licensee. And that just does wonders for everybody across the country that are part of the brand and the new people who are coming on as well. Yeah, so you're welcome, Chase.
Cool.
Jeff is asking, will we be able to get help with deal structure if I get a lead and don't know what to do with it?
Yeah, we have a great Facebook page that has, between yours, but we have a private Facebook group for Flip to Freedom that has over, close to 3,000 people in there that we talk about deal structure. Also, too, we have a complete course that I recorded on the 16 different deal structures with all the contracts, the verbiage, and everything, and you get that part of the 1-800 Fair Offer package as well. You'll have access to that page.
So do we have pre-made ads for online and social media use?
Yes, we do. We have actually pre-made videos that are done that you can use in your marketing, in your own market. We'll talk about Facebook marketing and stuff like that. So that's part of the ambush that we're going to be talking about.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, Alex, it's been almost 2 hours.
I know. Oh my goodness.
That's one thing. It's like it's almost time for your bedtime.
Yeah, my bedtime scenario that I got going on over here. Absolutely. If I start now, they'll be asleep by 8.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to end the broadcast now. Thank you guys so much for participating. So Jeff is asking, so I cancel all my pages and systems? You can still leave your pages open, right? Don't cancel them all, but just now start branding from a market. Start dropping your direct mail from 1-800 Fair Offer. Start, now you'll have your own websites you can run pay-per-click advertising to that are they convert incredibly well, that you will start directing traffic to that way. You're cold calling for 1-800 Fair Offer, or you're dropping RVMs for 1-800 Fair Offer. So everything's completely being surrounded and it's promoting the brand. So even if sellers don't, they get a voicemail and they don't have a property to sell, guess what? Because it's so recognizable, 1-800 Fair Offer, and that's why we did a webinar about it. It is so recognizable that we get referrals of people that just call in all the time. They call in on our number and say, "Hey, I heard about you and I got a house to sell." Right? Where do you get that? You rarely ever get that, and I never got that when I was just doing business under Terry Wilson.
Is the site similar to Investor Carrot sites? The way I would say it's similar is that you can customize things on it similar to Carrot. And in the one way that it's different is it's a national site all together, all put in one place with pages for every county and city in the country. That's something that's hard to duplicate. Yeah,
we have complete back-end programming. So when someone calls 1-800 Fair Offer and you own the county, they have a whole system that will direct them to you. Right? And so when someone calls 1-800 Fair Offer and they're going to type in their zip code of where they're at, it's going to direct them to us. Same thing with our websites. We have a completely integrated back end of this thing. Once you secure your county and you're accepted into the 1-800 Fair Offer family, from that standpoint, anybody types in a lead on our site will be automatically directed to you. Which is cool. All right, dude.
All right.
So I got to eat lunch. I haven't eaten lunch yet. It's almost 3 o'clock, but I intermittent fast. So,
yeah, that's right. So we do videos like this so that way you can't eat during the video.
yeah. This is good. Yeah, if you go to Stephen, if you go to 1-800, if you will go to get 1-800 for offer that's on the screen right there, that's everything that's included in the program.
Jeff wants to buy 2 counties. Well, just secure 1 county, which are $850, and we can talk about that. If your county's unavailable, how do you work out of state? He's in Phoenix. Oh boy. You could definitely use
virtual wholesaling is if you're going to virtual wholesale, this is the fastest, easiest way to get online in another market as fast as humanly possible, because you have an instant brand.
It's right there. You just start marketing to it, driving traffic, driving leads, and you're in business. So.
All right, sounds good. Thank you guys so much. Greatly appreciate it. Have the great rest of your week. Today's Wednesday, hump day, and take care and God bless.
We'll see you later.
Yeah.